I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna let this feeling take control. Joy down in my soul to stay, and nothing's gonna take it away. Joy down in my soul. I'm gonna let this feeling take control. Whatever comes my way, I'll be okay. 'Cause I've got joy. Oh, I've got joy. Come sunshine or rain, when things don't go my way, still my joy can stay. 'Cause you give me blessings every day. I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna let this feeling take control. Joy down in my soul to stay, and nothing's gonna take it away. Joy down in my soul. I'm gonna let this feeling take control. Whatever comes my way, I'll be okay. 'Cause I've got joy. Ooh, I've got joy. You fill my heart with hope. You're everywhere I go. So even if I'm feeling low, I still got this one thing, this I know. I've got joy down in my soul. I'm gonna let this feeling take control. Joy down in my soul to stay, and nothing's gonna take it away. Joy down in my soul. I'm gonna let this feeling take control. Whatever comes my way, I'll be okay. 'Cause I've got joy. Oh, I've got joy. Every new sunrise gonna fix my eyes on the one who never fails. I'm gonna make some noise 'cause you give me joy, and it's never ever going away. Every new sunrise gonna fix my eyes on the one who never fails. I'm gonna make some noise 'cause you give me joy, and it's never ever going away. Whoa, 'cause I've got joy. Ooh, I've got joy. Yeah. 'Cause I've got joy. Whatever comes my way, I'll be okay. Oh, I've got joy.
Hey Pop Kids, as you know, this month we're talking about initiative, seeing what needs to be done and doing it. And we can find one of the greatest examples of initiative in the whole Bible when we take a look at the life of a man named Nehemiah. But instead of me telling you the story, we have a very special guest who's back with us, live from Prince of Peace Puppet Plaza. Would you make some noise for Palmer the Pop Puppet? Woohoo!
Thanks, Nathan, and thank you, Pop Kids. Pop Puppet Plaza is a very special place because with just the push of a button, I can be whisked away to amazing places like Hawaii or the Himalayas or Hoboken, New Jersey. But today's story takes place. Nathan, can you remind me where today's story takes place?
Jerusalem.
Oh yeah, thanks. Back in ancient Jerusalem, God's people kept turning away from God, which ended up getting them captured and taken away to live in the Babylonian Empire. They were stuck there for a long time, like at least 7 days.
I think it was actually 70 years, Palmer.
Oh yeah, that's right. So after 70 years, some of God's people were allowed to return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. Others had made lives for themselves in the Babylonian Empire, where they had now been taken over by the Persian Empire. One Jewish man, Nehemiah, had become quite important over in Persia. Nehemiah was cupbearer for King Artaxerxes, which meant he was kind of like a bodyguard. He would taste the king's drink first to make sure that it wasn't poisoned. That meant that Nehemiah was probably a very close and trusted advisor to the king. But even though Nehemiah lived in Persia, he still cared very much about Jerusalem, where his people had lived before. In fact, it makes me a little homesick and sad right now.
Palmer, it's okay, buddy.
I know, Nathan, but I just remembered something else that made Nehemiah sad too. He got word that Jerusalem was in ruins. The wall was broken down around it. And back then, cities needed walls to protect them from attackers. Nehemiah sat down and wept. Oh, it's awful. So awful. The people of Jerusalem had nothing to protect them.
You're right, Palmer. But remember, Nehemiah then prayed to God. Lord, you are the God of heaven. You are a great and wonderful God. Please pay careful attention to my prayer. See how your people are suffering. Please listen to me. I'm praying to you day and night. I'm praying for the people of Israel. Nehemiah 1, 5-6.
Oh yeah, that's right. Nehemiah told God the truth, that he and God's people hadn't followed God very well. But Nehemiah also remembered the promise God had made to Moses, that if the people obeyed God's commandments, God would gather them together again. One day, the king noticed that Nehemiah looked sad. The king said to Nehemiah, "Why are you looking so sad?" Nehemiah said, "The city where my people are from has been destroyed." And the king told Nehemiah he could go back to visit Jerusalem. See if he could help with things down there. So Nehemiah asked the king for a few favors, and the king helped him out. He gave him letters so he could travel safely. A letter that gave him trees and logs to rebuild with, like a lumber gift certificate. And the king even sent some of his army officers with Nehemiah to keep him safe. The king could see that Nehemiah was really upset and that he was determined to help his people. So he gave Nehemiah everything he needed in order to journey to Jerusalem and rebuild the city walls. When Nehemiah reached Jerusalem, he set out during the night with a few of his pals to see the damage to the walls. And it was a lot worse than Nehemiah thought it was. The city was like a pile of rubble. He knew that something had to be done, but he didn't wait for someone else to do it. He took initiative. Nehemiah called out to the officials and said, "Hey, officials of Jerusalem, that's right, you. You can see the trouble we're in. Jerusalem has been destroyed. Fire has burned up the gates. Come on, let's rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. Then people won't be ashamed no more. God will help us. What do you say? Kids, you help Nehemiah. Are you with us? Are you with us? Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Okay, that's better. One more time, are you with us? Yeah, that's right. The officials of Jerusalem agreed to rebuild the city wall. Then the rest of the people of Jerusalem got on board. They believed they could do it. with Nehemiah leading them and God helping them every step of the way. You know, that's a pretty beautiful story if I do say so myself.
Wow, it sure is, Palmer. Hey kids, can we say thank you and goodbye for now to Palmer?
Bye, you pop kids.
Imagine what it would have been like for the people who lived in Jerusalem before Nehemiah came to town. They must have thought that rebuilding the city's walls was impossible. But all it took was one person who took the initiative and helped them imagine what they could do together. Nehemiah didn't wait for someone else to take action. He made a plan and reminded the people of something important, that they could trust God no matter what. They could rely on God to accomplish this big job because they knew that God was with them. You can take initiative, seeing what needs to be done, and doing it, just like Nehemiah did. So this week, when you see something that's not right, or you see someone who needs your help, remember today's bottom line. Don't wait for someone else to do what needs to be done. Jump into action and ask God to help you lend a hand.
Dear God, thank you for the story of Nehemiah. Thank you for the example he gave us, for the way he saw something that needed to be done and did something about it. Help us look around for ways that we can take initiative to help us take action instead of waiting for someone else to do it. We know that you will always be there to help us whenever we need you. And we're so thankful. We love you. Thank you for loving us. Amen.